Hey guys, have you been feeling super convinced by your OCD lately? Have you been feeling like the concern you're focused on is the most urgent thing that you should absolutely be spending all your time thinking about? Well, we're going to poke a little bit of a hole in the OCD logic today with a concept called selectivity of the doubt. What's up, guys? This is Mike Parker at the Center for OCD and Anxiety in Pittsburgh, PA, and this is OCD Space, where we're talking about all things OCD. So today I want to share with you another ICBT concept called selectivity of the doubt. It's something that's really changed the way I view OCD and treat OCD, so I'm excited to hopefully do it some justice and share it with you all. Before we talk about selectivity of the doubt, though, let's kind of review what doubt is. When you have OCD, you're engaged in something called obsessional doubt. This is where you're doubting something over and over and over and over again, and you just cannot get out of it. But what is doubt? Well, doubt is basically like a questioning of the available information. It's a questioning of yourself. It's a questioning of your true intentions and your true desires. It's a question of what you're seeing in front of you. It's bringing the whole thing into doubt, your whole experience into doubt. And this is happening in the area where you're having an obsession, So examples would be, with germs, I don't see anything dangerous. No one has told me there's anything wrong with this surface, but what if there is dangerous germs on this surface? With a harm obsession, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't want to harm anybody, but what if I do it anyway, right? You're just completely questioning yourself. With a hit and run obsession, I didn't see anybody get hit by my car on the way to work. I didn't notice anybody yelling as I ran over them. But what if I did hit someone anyway? Let me go back and check. Even obsessions about your own mind, right? I'm able to think clearly right now. I'm able to, get through the day. But what if I'm actually going crazy? What if I'm completely losing it? There's all kinds of ways that you can doubt things and get stuck in that obsessional doubt. Now, when you're in it, it feels very convincing. It feels like you absolutely should be worried about this. This is the incredible power of OCD. It's the trick. And what we're going to talk about today is it's actually not as reasonable as it seems, because the idea of selectivity of the doubt is the fact that you don't worry about everything that's possible. Right? Is it possible that you could have hit someone on your way to work and either not even noticed it or not remember it? Yes, it's possible, right? But how come you're not doing that everywhere if that's such sound logic? Something being possible makes it worth your attention. Why aren't you doing that everywhere? Right? Why are you thinking about, in that same car, are you thinking about the fact that your brakes could have failed on that ride? Is it possible your brakes could fail? Absolutely. Why weren't you worried about it? I don't know. With OCD, though, there is a reason. The reason why you're not worried about that and you're worried about hitting the person is because OCD has convinced you that you are vulnerable to something. OCD has convinced you that there's a possible you that is, has a bad memory, is, doesn't pay attention, is prone to just do something horrible. OCD has convinced you that this thing inside of you is wrong somehow. And that's the selectivity of the doubt. You don't doubt everything. You're only doubting things in a very specific area of your life. And we really want to make that clear, because this is an OCD problem, right? You don't have a not paying attention and hitting people problem. You know, if you have health concerns, you don't actually have a cancer problem. If you have relationship OCD, you don't have I'm a horrible partner problem, or I'm going to cheat on my wife problem. If you are, you know, struggling with contamination, you don't actually have a dangerous germ surrounding you problem. You have an obsessional doubt problem that's being applied to one aspect of life. And the key thing here is you could actually do that anywhere if you really wanted to. Could you obsessionally doubt whether your brakes are going to give out on your car? Absolutely. Every single time you get in your car, you could think this could be the time that they're going to give out and I'm going to crash. You didn't check the brakes before you got in the car. It's possible they're going to give out. It's possible some horrible person came up to your car and cut the brake lines before you got in there, right? And but you're not worried about that. So selectivity of the doubt, I'll get it right here, you know, is basically a demonstration that this is a very biased process. It's not a reasonable process. And so the thing you're worried about is the thing you worry about yourself. You're possibly going to be the sort of person that this bad thing happens to. Okay, so we get that down first, and we recognize that let's look at whether that is true. Let's look at whether you actually are this person that you're so scared you are. And that's a big part of the treatment process. Now, the other thing with selectivity of the doubt, though, that's really cool is it actually allows you to look at the areas where you're not obsessionally doubting and look at how are you living your life in that area, and let's replicate that, because that's what it feels like to trust. That's what it feels like to trust your experience, trust yourself, trust the information you have available, trust your senses. That's what you're doing in other areas of your life, and it's wonderful, right? It's blissfully ignorant of all the possibilities, right? We want to replicate that. Let's do that where you're having the obsession. So let's use that, you know, brakes failing example, right? When you got in the car and you didn't worry about your brakes failing, you were trusting that you had no information telling you that this was a concern. You were trusting that, you know, when your car got inspected last time, they did a good job and they like inspected your car and said it was safe, and you can trust that information. You're trusting the fact that this isn't something that regularly happens with this car of yours, that the brakes don't regularly give out, and your experience is actually, you know, important information. Could you go looking for information to worry about this? I bet. I haven't searched this, but if you Googled brakes failing, can you find information out there of it actually happening? Probably. But you're not doing that. You're not out there looking for extra information. You're not doing any of that. You are just sitting pretty, getting in your car, and thinking these brakes will work, right? So that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for a place of trust in the information you have available. And we're shooting for what is actually more of a passive way of living your life, not so active and going out of your way to check everything and look for information and all that kind of thing. We are just actually saying, my senses will tell me when there's actual irrefutable proof that this concern is relevant to me in this moment. And that's the key, right? Information relevant, that's irrefutable, saying right now, this is something I should concern myself with. OCD doesn't want you to pay attention to the present. OCD doesn't want you to live in the present, because in the present, there's a lack of data. There's a lack of sensory information saying this obsession is, you know, something you should worry about. You might have some emotions. Those can be a little scary. You might have some physical sensations going on. Those can be a little scary, but you don't actually have factual, irrefutable evidence that your obsessional concern is actually a relevant concern to you right now. That is just how OCD works. And so the antidote is getting yourself into the present and expecting a certain level of proof before you worry about something. And that has to be, irrefutable, and it has to be undeniable. You can't just be like, well, this could be this could be that, right? You could do that forever with everything, but you can't. You have to have a standard with what evidence is going to allow you to say this is a reasonable concern. I can worry about this now. Okay, and one thing I'll leave you with, guys, is a question that might help you get in that mode, is just to ask yourself, what would need to be true to make my obsessional concern relevant to me right now? What would need to happen? What would need to occur? What fact would need to come my way? What piece of evidence would need to come my way? And set a high bar there, just like you set a high bar in the rest of your life, right? Think about all the other areas where you're not worried. You would need something actually substantial to occur to say, this is now something I actually should address. I should do something about this, okay? All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. This is selectivity of the doubt, a really cool concept that really helps you break down how OCD is working. So hope this was helpful. Until next time, guys, trust yourselves. Take care.